Hello, I have perfected Supermarket Times on Steam by collecting all 6 achievements. This includes obtaining a fake ID, cleaning the toilet, punishing a seagull, and a few more we'll touch on a bit later. Welcome to my full review. Supermarket Times is a ultra-realistic, comedic, point-and-click shopping simulator being developed and published by Rabbit Hole Games. You can find the game currently only on Steam. Full disclosure, I was graciously sent a review copy of the game, however with that in mind it will not alter my opinion on the title. Starting with the settings page, it is jam-packed with every setting you'd ever need, such as a volume slider and being able to change your resolution, which surprisingly enough does not work unless you're playing in windowed mode. I found this hilarious. However, my biggest complaint is the volume slider. Visually it's perfect, but it controls all the audio in one. A secondary slider for separating music from the wonderful voices or a streamer mode would be perfect. As for the technical side of things, please note that I'm running this off a low, high-end PC, so how this runs for me might not run the same for you. Now, to my surprise, the game has a stuttering issue in very specific portions, mainly the first few areas. The tutorial section suffers the most from it. However, past that, loading the first few locations and picking up certain items will cause the game to pause for a brief moment, before it picks up right again a second or so later like nothing happened. I thought this could have been a memory leak or me issue as the graphics are quite intense, but no, the game just needs to hiccup before it can function properly. Outside of that, I never encountered another problem. The stutters aren't that big of a deal either, I just have to mention them. Now, there are no difficulty options. However, in true point-and-click adventure fashion, the difficulty will come down to your puzzle-solving skills, some being less obvious than others, but I'll touch on that a bit soon. As for the replayability, at most, you'll replay the game a second time to obtain the last few achievements you may have missed. But if you've listened to everything your first go-around, there is no point to play it again. Moving on to the gameplay section, in short, Supermarket Times is a hilarious hand-drawn point-and-click adventure game about grocery shopping and completing legendary tasks throughout the market. You start with a nice quick tutorial going over your keybinds and then are immediately thrown into the supermarket. It reminds me of that feeling when you're a kid who was left alone with a cashier while your parents went to go grab something they forgot, but instead they vanish into the depths. Just me? Anyway, there is obviously no hand-holding, and we're not that kid, so you now have to explore. Your options are to talk to everyone you see, pick up every item you find, and try your best to make some sort of progress. The progression comes down to completing the 6 legendary tasks, which I'll call quests. This is all the information you're given on how to progress them, and honestly, is all you need. The game heavily values exploration and figuring out everything for yourself. That holds a lot of weight when done properly, and it is quite flawless here. The puzzles of the game can become challenging fairly quickly. When you reach certain locations, the puzzles within will either become obvious or stump you further, mostly depending on the items you've previously uncovered or purchased. Speaking of purchasing items, you have no limit to your wallet and can purchase anything as many times as you'd like. A nice touch, but can be extremely unhelpful. However, if you can have a cart full, eventually, one will have to be useful, right? Back to the puzzles. They go from super easy to quite hard, the easiest being to hit a seagull with a rock. Once you reach this spot, it's very obvious what you need to do. However, finding a way to open the pickle jar took me way longer than any other task. In hindsight, it makes some sense, but figuring out without trial and error just wasn't gonna happen. It does provide an accomplished feeling after completing a single task, which keeps your brain happy going for the next. The world of Supermarket Times is surprisingly large and can be confusing at times to traverse. You move around by pressing on the buttons around the screen, which will hop you from location to location, some having more entrances than others. You're provided with a map which is as confusing as just walking around, but after taking an eye exam and learning how to read, it becomes clearer and allows you to teleport to previously unlocked locations. It also shows where to find all the key items you're currently missing. As for the audio, everything you press on will have an entire voice-acted description alongside it. And I mean almost everything.
Red snapper.
Some better than others, but the majority are jokes, just like the items themselves. They are there to give you a laugh, or at the very least, a chuckle. My favorites are when the actor breaks character and just laughs at his own silliness.
Exactly like a squid.
I love when these are kept in. Hey, you've made it to the story section and my thoughts on it. I won't be covering the spoilers in depth, but if you would like to avoid them, skip ahead to the positive and negative section below. Ready? Okay. The game takes place within your local supermarket where you are tasked with being an adult and having to do groceries. Your normal list becomes corrupted after venturing inside, all while you slowly uncover the local horrors of supermarket shopping. You'll meet a cast of peculiar people, all with their very own stories attached to them. For example, Carol wants you to know about her son, who refuses to pick a vegetable for the soup she's making tonight, and instead he picks processed meat. Carol doesn't like the sound of that, and will start to become very angry. Or you have James. His dad bought him a skateboard with no wheels when he was a child, and he had to salvage broken wheels from the trash just to ride it. He's still very sad to this day about his childhood being ruined. While the story and visuals seem quite happy-go-lucky charms, there's always a dark undertone or something lurking around the corner waiting to jump out at you. Everything here is just slightly off, so prepare to do some questionable things to hopefully discover the secret of the supermarket time. Now in all seriousness, I have no idea what the story is about. I tried to grab as much as I could to put together that little explanation, but it is all over the place. I felt like every single item and character had their very own story attached to them, but none of them were connected in a way that made full sense. You also have your own character story going on, which seems to be just trying to uncover the supermarket's secret by being a nosy brat exploring into places you shouldn't be. Honestly, I have no idea what I just witnessed. The entire game felt like a dream, but it was one of those dreams you'd be angry waking up from, because it was so good you just don't remember why. It does provide a lot of laughs, even if you don't understand every joke. There will be one in here that will get you eventually. As mentioned before, there are a total of 6 achievements, all of which took me 2.3 hours to obtain. I usually do not mention the ones handed to you just by playing, however this title specifically only has 2 not automatically given, and I want to talk about the others. Starting with Cleaner, you need to help clean the toilet by spraying water at the soap. I just wanted to mention this one was way too realistic and made me uncomfortable to even think about. He deserved it is to punch a seagull by throwing stuff they call a rock at it, and then taking his head as a trophy. Or, well, a key. I understand he pooped on my face, but I don't think this is deserved. The hardest achievement award goes to Nari Perapi. As the achievement suggests, you just need to clean it up, but you actually have to pick it up and take it to the toilet you previously cleaned. Getting rid of it by any other means, which there are multiple, does not count towards completion. I think it's obvious that the achievements were not of high importance, which I completely understand. The game itself is a non-serious, serious joke. However, once again, you graciously provided me, an achievement hunting completionist, a key to check out your game to provide my opinion. So, there were a lot of missed opportunities to include way more into this title. Some good quick examples could be having them attached to the other tasks, obtaining each key separately following the legendary shopper achievement, listening to some of the full character dialogues as some are quite long, maybe throwing some extra secrets here and there, maybe even my own little secret to find in your next game. I'm just throwing it out there. The game is obviously on the quicker side of things, so for achievement hunters like myself, sometimes less is more. And it is a fun game to add to the list. I'm just needy when it comes to games I heavily enjoyed. Anyway, let's move on to the positives. It's a hand-drawn comedy point-and-click adventure about exploring a supermarket and meeting colorful characters exactly like real life. The need to click on everything and hear its description makes the game hard to put down. It's short. This can be a negative, however for what the game is, it's sweet and simple. As for the negatives, the start of the game suffers with stuttering issues. There is a fair chunk of dark, political, and adult humor some might not like. As much as I love the wacky art style, it can be a drawback for some. In conclusion, Supermarket Times was a game I did not expect much from, but it was filled with many laughs, gags, and an all-around good time while completing it. I obviously wish there was more to do alongside extra achievements to hunt for, but aside from that, there isn't too much to complain about. The pricing is fair, however you can purchase it on a sale, even better. However, that will conclude my Supermarket Times review. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Let me know your thought down below, or what game I should complete next. A huge thanks to Joel from Rabbit Hole Games for sending me a beyond lovely email, actually checking out my content, and the opportunity to review your new game. I hope you enjoyed it the most, and I'm excited to see what future titles you all come up with. All links you would ever need are in the description below. Subscribe so you never miss a video, and until next time, take care.